Hello, everybody, and welcome to NF Twits.
Today we have a special topic for you. We're talking about all the Qs. No, we're not talking about James Bond and Q. We're talking about IQ, EQ, AQ, CQ, SQ, and again CQ.
But actually, talking about Q of James Bond would be sick too. Got that killer pen that would be pretty sick.
Oh yeah,
But
that's some good stuff, man.
I mean, back in the day when we were young, people were only talking about IQ, right? So, oh my God, he's so smart. The kid is like so talented. But
IQ tests everywhere.
exactly. But later on, we learned like EQ is so much more important. So, what is actually EQ, Mark?
So EQ stands for emotional quotient. It's basically, emotional intelligence. How do you interact with other people? How do you associate with them? How's your inner dialogue, basically?
Well, yeah. So it's more focused on yourself, right? So
Empathy.
how you deal with emotions, right? Because it's really important. Can you reflect on yourself? Because a lot of people they don't reflect, right? They just like get aggressive because like they feel offended and stuff like this. So you can really tell if somebody is able to reflect and say, like, for example, oh yeah, that was actually you were right on that point. So basically taking a different stages, right? So first there are three, for example, three different positions that you can take. So first is you're associating from yourself. So if you're getting critique, normally people be defensive about it. And then the second person, you take it from Mark, for example. So I'm taking the position of him, why he's actually giving me feedback. So he might not want to do it just to annoy me, but actually wants to make me improve. And third person is looking at the entire interaction from a third person. And that, if you're able to do this, this will help you to, of course, increase your EQ.
So we talked about the EQ, but we also already talked about what back in the day everyone was talking about IQ. So what do people actually do about IQ and what is IQ? Well, IQ, think about it this way. It's basically how good is the chip in your fucking brain, like of your computer? What fucking processor you got in there, right? How hot is that oven? Does it burn really hot or are you really, really cold? Is it like more of a fridge, very slow and fucking, or like a how higher is the microwave? Do you have 9 watt, it just fucking directly heats it up, or like a 250?
Or does it need a little, heat up?
Exactly. So you got these options. All right. So
like-
how do you actually increase your IQ? Well, because a lot of people think, oh, it's genetic. Well, genetic plays a role in it, but you can also increase it by like thinking strategically, doing puzzles.
Sudoku, brother. Can you play
Exactly.
Sudoku?
Learn new skills like languages. Then also obviously the basic stuff like get enough sleep, exercise. Just basically because they can decrease your IQ.
This is actually a very interesting point because you're saying like with resting you increase your IQ. Now people are saying, wait, how? So basically I get super intelligent by sleeping? No, of course not. But it helps you to reach your like
potential.
your limit, your current limit, right? Because in the end, it's like if you don't sleep enough, what you normally do, your processor runs on low battery. It's like you're going in battery saver, right? Your laptop will not have 100% power if it's on, or your phone, if it's like under 20%, it automatically goes into battery saver and it will like decrease the power of your chip. The same with your IQ. So if you're not rested well, what happens? You have less output.
So it's because the IQ basically fluctuates during the day. Think about it. You start high and then you go low, or depending on your energy levels and all the other things that we mentioned above. But talking about fluctuation, what about adaptability, Lucas?
Oh, that's actually one of the concepts I really personally like a lot because especially as an entrepreneur, what's really important is being able to adapt to new situations, right? Might be a market shift, so it's an external change. Or on a personal level, let's take, for example, you're in a new country. For example, us right now, we just got to Colombia like a week and a half ago. And man, the first day was like, oh my God, where are we living? Like, is the let's put it this way, where we live, the area is more working class. We should not leave at night without an Uber. I guess that's can be quite common here in Colombia. But living from Barcelona, we can walk everywhere or most places at night, which is totally fine. It's like, all right, you gotta adapt. Same with being an entrepreneur, right? Because you never like if you start with an hypothesis and then you need to adapt. Because otherwise, if you don't adapt, you will stick to your hypothesis, even though your customer, who are the most important voice, you will not listen to it, and then you will fail.
So basically, you're saying you can increase your AQ by stepping out of your comfort zone, by like embracing change, basically learning from failure, staying open to learning, and practicing problem solving under pressure. Or
Yes and no. I mean, it's like think about it as a muscle, right? Every
Hmm.
quotient
Yeah.
is like a muscle that you just need to train. May it be a language, you need to practice. What we do every day, Duolingo,
Yeah.
Spanish Dick, etc. Same with this. You need to step out of your comfort zone to increase this. This is also when you're with EQ, right? Because nobody likes reflecting about what they did wrong or stuff like this, learning from failure, embracing failure.
Yeah.
It's the same with adaptability. You need to, like, all right, push yourself out of the comfort zone so you can actually grow that
Quotient.
quotient. Man, this is a hard word for me. All right, Lucas, we still got a few more there. All right, Mark. Now we're in Colombia. It's a culture shock, right? Now I want to talk about the culture quotient. So why
Well,
is it
you.
important?
I know. You tell me, my boy.
All right. Well, I guess thank you for the ball back. Here I am. So the CQ is really important, especially if you're working, like for example, you work in a bigger company with different cultures, because certain things are accepted in some not. And that way, if you know the cultures, so actually that's how you can improve your CQ, learning about different cultures, so you know the do's and don'ts, which make then the overall interaction with people easier and faster, as well as better. Actually, what I want to do, I want to put the CQ, this CQ, so the cultural quotient, put it underneath the SQ. So the SQ is actually social quotient, and the
Hmm.
social quotient is basically the external version of the EQ. EQ, more internal, so emotional quotient, whereas the SQ, the social quotient, is about the external, how Mark and I interact with each other, how we interact with other people that we might just new meet in the gym, etc. Well, Mark and I tend to smile a lot. That, for example, helps a lot because that makes the interaction nicer. Also, listening to the other person, make them feel heard. These social interactions, which to be honest, I always thought it was EQ, which is part of the EQ, but actually it's SQ, it's a different one.
Actually, talking about CQs, I have a different CQ. You talked about cultural. I think this CQ is even more important. It's called the curiosity quotient. Why? Because I'm curious as fuck.
Oh man, I mean, Mark and I are so curious that people are like, man, stop asking that many questions. It's like it can be obnoxious, but to be honest, we just like learning because we have so many, like, I don't know, questions. How does it work? Back when we were kids in school, man, I don't want to know how many times we got into trouble. It's like, why is that the case? Can you please explain
Hey,
this?
why is that? You
Yeah,
go even further until you understand why the reason is.
and then sometimes the professor didn't even know the answer, and then they just like got mad at us, and yeah, we got into problems. But anyways,
But come back to it. I mean, it's basically it's kind of like a growth mindset if you combine it with the EQ. Because at the end of the day, it's just like, hey, you're curious about learning things. You want to improve with the EQ combined.
so with the internal, so basically,
Exactly, because you're obviously you want to have improve. It's internal, but the curiosity is just like you're curious about the world, external parts. You'd like exploring. You challenge your
the
beliefs.
CQ.
The CQ,
Yeah,
like my CQ,
yeah.
because I think that's so much more interesting than the cultural one, especially as an entrepreneur. For me, I think that's more important because I want to actually combine that. I found another one. We're not gonna. Well, didn't want to talk about it, but I'm still gonna mention it. It's called the like PQ. It's the
What is
passion
PQ?
quotient.
Yeah.
The passion quotient, because end of the day, in startups, if you're passionate about something and you're curious, man, fuck the IQ.
I
You
mean,
just
look
need
at
to be
him right
curious.
now. Look at how Mark talks right now, right? He's like, "Oh my God, let's go, passionate Q."
So that's the thing, like, right? You're excited about something, so you fucking. It doesn't matter. You just also more focused. I don't know. You probably noticed it before. When you're really passionate about something, you don't mind working. Like the time flies. So with the curiosity combined with the passion, man, you can break down so many big tasks and you can get so much work done. I think this is so important for entrepreneurs.
In general, I think it's quite fascinating to see how wide the spectrum actually is.
Oh yeah,
Because like before, as a kid, you just think IQ, IQ, and then you see EQ, now SQ. So like
well,
the
I think
social interactions. Then also for entrepreneur, like what I see as the bubble there, which is really important, is the AQ, so
yeah,
adaptability, as well as the CQ, not the cultural one, but more about the creativity.
yeah.
So because these are curiosity, sorry, the curiosity quotient, because these two combined makes it very easy or easier to adapt to new changes, listen to customers' feedback, and like what do they always say in Y Combinator? Build what people want, right?
Okay, if you had to choose three quotients which will have an impact on an entrepreneur, the other ones will just be average, all right? You can say these three will be the highest on the spectrum that you can have. Let's say like highly, like I don't know, top fifth percentile. No, sorry, 99th percentile. And the rest will just be average, a little bit below average. What are the three quotients that you would choose for an entrepreneur and why? And I want to start off with a story back in the day as a kid, because we always thought like in school, like, oh, these guys are intelligent, whatever. They're probably gonna do so many things in life. End of the day, 10 years later, they are still in the same position. They didn't get anywhere because they weren't curious, they didn't adapt, and somehow life got in the way. But the
Also,
IQ didn't have an impact.
but then you also see like they get probably praised on the intelligence, not on the hard work. So like I am intelligent, which makes it like, okay, now that I'm intelligent, I guess I will keep growing, but I don't really grow because they're not willing to go that way. So it might, yes, so they might have a low curiosity Q, so quotient and stuff like this.
Okay, I asked you for three. Give me three.
All right,
Three bad boys.
before I tell you these three, guys, if you like what we're doing right now, because Mark and I are doing a challenge right now where we're trying to play a little bit with our voice, like going a little bit high, low. Please let us know in the comment sections if you like that, or yeah, give us a feedback in general. Are you more captivated by this? Because that's something we want to test right now. And now I'm coming back to this. So the three that are for me most important is adaptability, for sure, because I think this is, as an entrepreneur, you need to know what the environment. If the environment changes, you need to change as well. Then, of course, as well as the curiosity, because if you're not curious, you will never know what people actually want or need. Because otherwise, you just accept the status quo of the world, how it is. So, for example, this the typical answer that most people say, yeah, this is just how the world works. Yeah, but if then we would just still be on horses riding, right? If Henry Ford would have accepted this, he would have just invented a better horse, not the automobile. So that's, I think, one of the things is really important. So the curiosity factor, as well as the AQ. Last but not least, I think IQ is not as important as is the EQ. To be honest, I'd rather have some, because you want to. No, sorry, the SQ. So socially, because can I do four?
No, three.
All right, so I would stick with SQ, so socially, so you can work with other people, the adaptability, as well as the curiosity. The reasons why EQ dropped out for me is because in the end, if you are quite curious and you're willing to learn, you also need to reflect a little bit. Might not be on your emotional state, but in general, your hypotheses on certain topics.
That's why EQ fell out.
No, because it's already in the C,
SQ.
in the CQ, in the curiosity part, because you're learning already. So that's why you might not be reflecting on your own behavior, at least, but on your knowledge. I think that's where it is.
For me, my three, look, obviously this is a very nuanced topic. It really depends. They always say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So if you want to go fast, probably IQ is the most important part nowadays, because you can use AI, etc., and all that stuff, and it makes it much easier to do this kind of stuff. But since entrepreneurship now usually and generally is with a team, I wouldn't put IQ in there. IQ to a certain degree, because he said it's just average. With an average IQ, you can do a lot of things already nowadays, right? So I guess the IQ will then be outsourced to kind of the AI. So end of the day, I'm gonna cut out IQ. I think EQ and SQ, because we split them, I guess, emotional and as well as the social. These are the one of the most important ones. Plus, I would say curiosity, because if you're curious about something, you can figure the rest out. Adaptability, also really important, but if you're only average adaptable but super 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 curious, you gotta
Set
learn
the low
more.
part. You said we're very
Oh, sorry,
in
low.
risk.
All right, we have low. You're in lower percentile. You still so much in the high extreme on the curious. I think that's for me. I think these are the three too: the emotional quotient, the social quotient, as well as the
So EQ, SQ, as well as the CQ.
the curiosity quotient. This Q CQ.
Yeah. All right, guys, what do you think? Let us know in the comment section below. What are your 3 favorites for an entrepreneur? And of course, if you like it, subscribe. And of course, catch you next one. Peace.